It's exactly 9:40, and we are now going to be joined by Brandon de Kock to talk to us about the future of shopping malls. Brandon, good morning. Welcome to the program. And I do hope you can hear me loudly and clearly.
I can hear you loudly and clearly. Can you hear me this morning loudly and clearly?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Less crackle than yesterday.
Absolutely. Okay. So, Brandon, you have, we're talking brand map 2021. I also see that you're the director of storytelling WhyFive. Are these three different brands? Talk to us about them.
WhyFive is our company. So we're a consumer insights specialist agency. Brand map is a huge piece of work that we do every year. We've done it for the last 8 years. Effectively, what it is that we try to divide South Africa up into the tax-paying community, call it. So the people who are privileged and fortunate enough to live in middle class and up households. There's a lot of work done on the 70% of adults who live in households earning less than 10,000 Rand a month in this country. But we specialize above that line, trying to understand how these consumers who earn and spend about 80% of all the income in this country, what's going on in their hearts and minds and their behavior. So 8 years into the study, it's a pretty large sample. This year we got more than 30,000 South Africans answering our survey. And it's given us a really good before and after serious lockdown kind of view of this middle and top end of South Africa.
And is that why we're looking at the future of shopping malls and possibly high-rise office blocks, etc.? I'm thinking, we're at the cutting edge of technology. We have been for the past so many years. We know technology is changing very rapidly. What is relevant now won't be relevant in a year or two. And I also know that at some point we were heading in that direction, maybe 5 years or 10 years from now, that online shopping is going to be the order of the day. The pandemic has just moved it ahead, has it not?
Well, I think we for this sector of the market, we need to understand that sort of 85% of the middle class and up in this country were already shopping online before the pandemic. So I'm not sure that necessarily the volumes have obviously increased a little bit. A lot more people were buying stuff online last year. If you look at a company like Takealot, the kind of the massive monster, the Amazon of South Africa, the rise in consumerism on their site has been absolutely huge. It's a significant increase. But what we're really seeing that's interesting is not so much how much people are buying online, but what they're buying online now. Compared to before. So if we look at something like groceries, typically you would expect groceries to be something people want to go to a shop and touch and feel and look at. And yet we see groceries with 100% growth in terms of online ordering. So I think it's more about what people are ordering than the absolute fact that they're doing stuff online. We've been doing stuff online for a long time.
And more so in first world countries, isn't that so?
Absolutely. So, we are the tragedy of this country on a consumer level is that as I've said, 70% of the adults in this country, or of the individuals in this country, are living in households earning under 10,000 Rand a month.
Sure.
So even if they have access to the internet, their ability to do anything other right now than just struggle and survive is severely limited. The other 30% of adults in this country are living in this middle class and up, and they've been incredibly resilient through COVID. We only track less than 10% of them losing their jobs, whereas the real pain was felt sort of lower down the triangle.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I think what's important is understand. Yeah. Sorry, what I was going to say is I think what's important is that this group of people we're talking about, remember, they pay 100% of personal tax in this country. So it's only a group of 12 million out of 40 million adults. But without them sort of being resilient, we would be in a far worse place than we were, if COVID had impacted them radically. But fortunately, it doesn't seem like it has yet. We're not sure what's going to happen with debt during the course of this coming year, but right now our middle class and up is still reasonably robust. So hopefully they'll be able to pay some taxes and keep the country going.
Very reluctantly, I might add, because of all the corruption and state capture, etc., etc. But that's for another conversation. the future of shopping malls. Is that a question for us in South Africa, given what you've just said, in terms of 70% of our population are dependent on jobs and to shop at shopping malls, because only a very small percentage of our population are able to afford online shopping?
Yeah. So I think, shopping malls, it's interesting. It's we have one of the biggest footprints of shopping malls in the world, literally, against population and size of country. So we're a shopping mall mad environment. And I don't think there's a definitive answer to that right now. I can tell you that one of the issues that we have is that obviously there's going to be a lag effect here. So we've all got used to not going to shopping malls as much as we used to. It's almost like a reluctant thing to have to go and hang out in a mall these days to do our shopping. But I think we might see that recover a lot quicker than people think. So one of the things that we're trying to track right now is, have things changed radically? And the answer is not necessarily. How quickly will they get back to what they were? Well, that's a much more interesting question. So if you look at something like just traffic flows, I live down in Cape Town, and I can tell you that our traffic congestion is back to what it was before lockdown. That's official, like on the TomTom traffic congestion statistics, they'll tell you that. So I would hope that things go back to some a slightly higher level. We may find that people's habits have subdued a little, and that's going to take quite a long time, I think, to filter back.
Okay, my final question then to you is, whom do you service as Storytelling and Wi-Fi? Who is dependent on the information, all the data that you collate, that you gather and collate?
So because this segment is so important, you can imagine something like, everything from your top financial service providers, all of the big banks and big financial service providers, all the way through to automotive, the automotive industry. You can't afford to buy a new car in this country if you are not in the top 20% of income earners. So our clients range from literally like the biggest banks and retailers, the Woolworths and Pick and Pays of South Africa, all the way down to very, very small people who have very tactical requirements in their lives. Like what can we tell them about consumers that's going to help them service people better and hopefully allow consumers to behave the way they'd like to. So pretty broad spectrum, from literally the biggest multinationals to the tiniest little mom and pop stores. We're in the privileged position to be able to help just about everybody.
Okay, and finally, and I know we're talking about this disparity in numbers, but work from home has and will have an impact on office blocks, will it not? Or do you think that's going to also gradually? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think, again, I think it's my gut instinct. If I look at my data, the one thing we've discovered is that about 12% of the whole middle class and up say that they work from home, and that includes entrepreneurs and students. So I just have this feeling that this whole idea about the destruction of the office space, and again, I think it's quite a privileged kind of perspective on the world. If you are a factory worker, and massive numbers of human beings in this country, individuals, are employed in factory work and manual work and keeping the real engine room going, it's hell of a difficult to do that from home. So I'm not totally sold yet. I certainly know we might not be going to other people's offices to have meetings as much as we were, but very quickly, I think office work has resumed in this country to a much greater degree than maybe we thought it would. Again, we'll have to wait and see, but right now I'm skeptical. I think that that's a fairly small group of people who are lucky enough, fortunate enough to be able to work at home.
And I was about to say that if you have spare money, then, buy a property in that area, but you're saying be cautious. Thank you indeed. Lovely talking to you, and have yourself a great day. Be safe.
Thanks for having me, Judy. Have a good day.
9:50 exactly, and in a short while we'll be joined by Yasin Teba, a director of Vision Tactical, a security company, but he's going to be talking to us about a support initiative in a minute or